I love a good old-fashioned award show. Throughout my whole life, I've been super interested in movies, video games, all types of media throughout the industry, and going to see each award show and seeing all the people talk about their instances throughout the film or game or things like that has always been something that I found very interesting. It's something that I always found human about each of these people, and it helped me connect with them and also the films that they were a part of, or even the games that they were a part of. Now, I'm not going to say every award show is good in their own right, because obviously this video is about one only. We could go into the Oscars and talk about their plethora of problems that are occurring there, but I think there's a major award show that I think has really lost the focus and has really kind of just become more about the actual showcase and the things that they want to show, besides the people that are actually there to receive their awards and actually speak on the instance and being grateful for their award. And it's the Game Awards. Recently, with their announced nominations, it's obvious that nothing has changed from last year, and it seems like that they are more corporate than ever. And for these types of award shows, I feel like having these very big level reveals and all of these people there that are obviously like investors and people that want to invest money into it, like it's obviously most of the show is for them. But what it should be for is for us, the fans, the people that actually love the games, that went out of their way to vote and actually went out of their way to watch. One of my favorite moments from the Game Awards was actually from one of the most recent, when Christopher Judge won his Best Performance Award for his performance in God of War, and he spent on stage for almost 5 minutes just talking and getting emotional, talking about where he came from and how it means to actually stand up on that stage with that award. It was emotional and heartwarming, and it made me love Christopher Judge as a person, but more so as an actor, more so. But nowadays, we are obviously seeing that the Game Awards has focused way more heavily on their big game announcements instead of the actual people that are there for the award. With last year being the main cause, with a lot of the big names there, like people like Eiji Aonuma was up on stage, and basically he of course has to have someone translating for him for this speech. And there was a very, very, very big screenshot that went viral after the showcase went live. It was the teleprompter that basically just kind of is telling the speakers what to say, the judges and everything, kind of the people up there that are just hosting the show. But the people for the actual awards, wrap it up, buddy. We gotta show the next Monster Hunter, buddy. We want to talk about how difficult the Legend of Zelda was to make? Fuck that! Resident Evil 9's coming out, baby! It's just really sad to see the Game Awards overall heavily focus on these very corporate reveals when there's already a showcase that the host of the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley, hosts himself, which is basically what he wants the Game Awards to be. And that's Summer Games Fest, the dancing on the grave of E3 that Jeff does every year. Having the Game Awards have these reveals is, of course, I think, wonderful. Like, I will never forget watching the Game Awards and seeing Super Smash Bros., the first DLC fighter revealed at the Game Awards being Joker. At the time, I did not really know about him, but look where we are now, buddy. Please play Persona. Please play Persona. But still, those moments, I think, still are impactful to the Game Awards, but having the showcase only focused on these events is, I think, just stupid. It's an award show. The people there are there to accept the awards, but also are there to celebrate gaming in its own right, and the things that happen throughout the year, the hardships, the struggles, and to finally see who won that award, and to finally, for all those sweat and tears that they put in, it's all worth it. But nowadays, this shit means nothing, man. This video is only being made because of recent announcements that came out about the Game Awards this year, which I was hoping after feedback from last year, they would actually take into consideration the fact that it's a goddamn award show, and really give time to the people that won those awards enough to actually give out what they want to say, speak their heart, thank people. It's something that I always appreciate when watching these shows and seeing who actually gets to win. Excuse me. Now, it's just kind of just stemming back to why and how so corporate this event has become with the recent nominations for Game of the Year this year, which all in all are not that bad. Considering the games that came out this year, I think all but one is really worth the award. All the games that were nominated for Game of the Year this year were Astrobot, Ballistro, which were the two big surprises for me. I did not expect them to even get close to that, especially Ballistro. I have not yet played it, but I have heard nothing but great things about the game and how replayable the roguelike is and how addicting it is, and just the music, the art style. It is... It's on my playlist, let me tell you, and the Game Awards announcement here has helped that. And these things will help those games. And people trying to shit on Ballistro when there is another factor to this that should be really talked about is, I think, ridiculous, man. It's one developer. It is insane. And all in all, hats off and congratulations to him. The last few ones were Black Myth Wukong, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor Refantasio, and of course, the one stick in the mud that has caused the stir among all of them. Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. And now, before I go onto this rant, I want to say I love Elden Ring. I have not personally played Shadow of the Erdtree, but I have seen a lot about it, and I've seen nothing but great things about Shadow of the Erdtree. And especially if it's just more of Elden Ring, more power to him. I love it. Elden Ring was such a breath of fresh air for the genre because is going to come out as a hot topic here. I tried to play Bloodborne when I got my PS5 because I heard nothing but great things about it. I can never fully grasp it. In a sense, the linearity of it, which I'm not saying is something that is bad, but something that I personally couldn't click with, doesn't make the game necessarily worse in that case. It's just something that, to me, I think just didn't help the difficulty of the game when you're just stuck pounding yourself at a wall for however long. But Elden Ring, with its open world features, and when I first played it, you really got a sense of like, oh, if this boss is too difficult, why don't you backtrack and go and find something else, more your style? It was very, very engaging, and it really helped, I think, the whole Souls-like genre that has sprung up in popularity recently to, I think, really hit the mainstream like nothing before. And Shadow of the Erdtree is another staple of that, but the problem is that it's DLC for the game, and it's a very big DLC, but you still have to play through Elden Ring a good majority through to actually even interact with this part of the game. And so seeing Shadow of the Erdtree next to all of these Game of the Year nominations, it just doesn't sit right with me. And it's not any fault to Shadow of the Erdtree, Elden Ring, or even From Software. This is all the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley, and his From Software and Hideo Kojima boner. Because there were a lot of games this year. Let's be clear. There were so many great games that were up in the running for Game of the Year. So to see games like Astrobot and Ballad show up there was really, really cool to see. But to see a DLC for a game that has, I kid you not, won Game of the Year before, to probably win Game of the Year again, it just does not sit right with me at all. And of course, I've seen people talk about how remakes should also not be considered for Game of the Year. There should be different categories for remakes and DLC. And while I agree with the DLC and the remakes to a certain extent, if the remake, like, let's say, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a remake of the middle half of Final Fantasy VII, I understand the frustration, but from actually playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the game itself is vastly different from the original game. With the action combat and kind of open area traversal, it feels like an entirely different experience, but with the same story. So I saw people were upset that, like, Silent Hill 2 or Persona 3 Reload didn't get Game of the Year nominations, but to a certain extent, I understand why they didn't. While I think Persona 3 Reload, which got me into the Persona series and is my favorite game in the series, mostly thanks to its really bold story, I really understand why they didn't really consider it, because it is basically a point-for-point remake besides just some extra details of the original game. And same with Silent Hill 2, just mostly people were upset about that one because that one was such a surprise in quality and the game was actually really decent. Even I was really worried because it just seemed like just a really sluggish Resident Evil 4. Which even then, last year's Resident Evil 4 was nominated for Game of the Year, which I did hear some talks about it, and even I was a little bit like, that was a little rough, but all in all, I think that game is still great in its own right, but I understand why people were upset about that nomination last year. But it just shows that I think the Game Awards needs to really broaden their award shows and have way more categories, especially with how big DLCs are getting, with how big remakes are becoming, because some of those old games play like dirt now. So it's obvious that I think the Game Awards needs to restructure those categories and overall have better focus on those certain things so those elements don't go unnoticed, like let's say, because it's obvious that they only changed the rules for Game of the Year that DLC is allowed just so Shadow of the Erdtree can get a nomination here, or in my mind, I think it's gonna win. My vote is for Metaphor, but I mean, that is a fever dream right there. Obviously, go vote for what you want to vote. Put your money where your mouth is because it's only 10% of the vote, baby. I'm not forgetting about that, Jeff. That's ridiculous. There were lots of games this year that I believe could have taken that spot from Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree that I think deserve it a lot better. And that's not saying that Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is bad. Like I said, the game won Game of the Year the year it came out. So let's not go dogging on Elden Ring now. The game and its DLC is great. Absolutely great. But to see it overall overshadow other physical full games that released this year, games like Helldivers 2. I've heard great things about Dragon's Dogma 2. Even like the Prince of Persia game I've heard is good. I mean, I'm gonna shit on Ubisoft every day I can, but I mean, a good game's a good game, y'all, and I love the original Prince of Persia. That's on my, when it goes on sale list. If only Concord lasted just a little bit longer. Then honestly, we'd have a different conversation. All in all, I hope the Game Awards this year, I think really, hopefully restructures their systems to help mostly focus on the people that are there to accept the awards, to give their speeches and their time, and I think really show the passion and the things that they had to go through to actually receive this, I think is something to me that I think is heartwarming, and to me is the spirit of these award shows, and especially the Game Awards, especially considering a lot of the things that has occurred from past years. But with this recent nomination, it's obviously seeming that nothing has changed with the Game Awards, and they're still going to be as corporate and kind of their own, like, Game Awards, game announcement showcase with award show on the side. It's like, at this point, Jeff, I have a great idea for you, man. It's called the Winter Games Fest. It's okay. Oh, hear me out. We could still have the next Monster Hunter. Like, I literally just remembered, right now that, like, the year the Xbox Series X was supposed to come out, they showed it off at the Game Awards. Or the next year that the system was supposed to release, they showed it off at the Game Awards. Like, their first showcase of, like, the Xbox Series S, I believe, like, the digital version of it, fully, like, not at an own Xbox showcase, like, at the goddamn Game Awards. Looking on the bright side, I am still optimistic and somewhat excited, mostly because I really do like the orchestra that performs all of the, motifs of each of the games, that won or nominated for Game of the Year. It's something that each year I'm always really excited about. But still, I think this is still a moment for everyone to kind of come together in support of their favorite games. And I still think that is the spirit of an award show. So not all of it is lost, but I think there was a lot of things that the people organizing the award show and even Jeff Keighley could reconsider and really, I think, make the award show the best it ever could, especially considering this is the 10th anniversary of the award show. So I would just hope for the best and expect a lot better from the award show, considering it is a goddamn award show, not E3. Because apparently after E3 died, all of these companies need to give show announcements at every single event and thing. This is how desperate people are getting. Bring back E3, y'all. Where's E4? Anyways, I've been rambling long enough. I hope for the best for the Game Awards, and I hope that things will finally turn around for it for the best. But go vote for Metaphor Fantasio, man. Go vote for it, man. That game is incredible. The action to the turn-based, the whole beautiful art style, the music. It is perfect, man. We can't let a DLC to an already great Game of the Year winner win another Game of the Year nomination. That's too many stickers on the front, man. We just gotta just one right here. One right there. One right there. Or one right there. Just Game of the Year. Game of the Year right here. Game of the Year.